Good morning. It is Wednesday, May 19th. I'm Jason Stanton. This is my morning musing. I continue to be dwelling in the challenge of unity in the church. At one time I was thinking about this question in terms of like denominational unity, thinking about how the Reformed churches and the Protestant churches and the evangelical churches and the Catholic churches and all the different denominations of Christians, how could we think about them, doing work together, being brought together, mostly because I didn't really notice the divisions within our own denomination or within our own fellowship here at First Lutheran. And these last number of years, and especially over the last year plus, have highlighted the challenge that the church always is living in, whether we notice it or not. The challenges are always present because the church is full of a bunch of people, and as much as anyone who belongs to a congregation or anyone who belongs to really anything, I mean, even like being a Packer fan, I might walk up to a Packer fan and be like, yeah, we're on the same page, right? We both despise and then we might say an enemy team. And the other person might be like, yeah, but I don't dislike them as much. You don't think just like I do? Like what? Or you don't agree on the whole Aaron Rodgers controversy? Or we don't agree? Like even that church is full of a bunch of different perspectives, experiences. At First Lutheran, we've got every age group represented. Most of us didn't grow up at First Lutheran. And so our experience of church was far different from what we experience here. That means our expectations are far different from maybe what actually is. Taking all this variety of experience, expectations, and opinions, and willingness to talk about those or not talk about those is a challenge. And that's the place where I'm noticing a lot of my energy going into these days is how do we do that better now than we ever did before? And what I mean by that is, how do we share our differences more clearly with each other than we used to? Because our differences, I think, are becoming more clear. And that doesn't need to mean that they feel more scary. What forum could the church offer the greater community, the whole community of Onalaska? What forum could we offer that could help all of us navigate our relationships more strongly? I guess that's one of the pieces. On Monday's musing, I was saying how, the love and logic line, I love you more than whether or not you're vaccinated or who you voted for or whatever. Like, that's important. And so how do we live that out? I mean, one of the ways I think we could live that out, I fantasize about the idea of putting two people up on stage and saying, what's your perspective and what's your perspective? We're not actually, the rest of us are watching, not necessarily to judge who's right and who's not, although I'm sure we would, but just out of genuine curiosity. Like, where are you coming from and where are you coming from? What's your news source? What are your values and priorities? How are you living in this moment, seeing the world in that way while you're seeing the world in that way? Like, wouldn't it be great if there was a place where we could just hear from people, just listen? Because it seems like oftentimes, whether it's a Facebook meme or a conversation with that crazy uncle, it seems like everybody's trying to persuade everybody or show that they're right. And what if we went to great extents to just show that we care and that we value another person I think that's the priority that's getting lost amidst all of our efforts to just be right, is how do we Christians live out this value of, I want to value each and every person that I come across, especially my siblings in Christ, who inevitably, I mean, we've got 1,800 members at First Lutheran. Inevitably, they're not all going to think the same way on everything. And so how do we really make everybody feel like there's a place for them? So I'm going to keep thinking about that. I'll keep musing on the different ways that we could have adults engage each other in a safe, non-emotional, but relevant, real way where we can really offer up vulnerability about, here's how we feel about a certain topic and here's why, and then just name in the midst of all of our differences that those differences pale in comparison to the size and depth of the love we share in Christ. I'll keep thinking. Keep faith alive.